ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः.
Namaskar everybody. Some interesting highlights in Bhagavad Gita. நீங்களும் notice பண்ணிருப்பீங்க, இன்னும் பண்ணுவீங்க. Any new teaching that occurs in Bhagavad Gita will always have an elaboration immediately following it. ஏதோ ஒரு முக்கியமான விஷயம் சொன்னார்னா அதுக்கு explanation, elaboration உடனே பின்னால வரும். அது மாதிரி there may be some important concepts or points repeated. அது திரும்பி திரும்பி வெவ்வேறு இடத்துல வரும். You will notice as we go by. அது emphasis-காக. But all that will be without contradiction and to elaborate onto the point and to emphasize on the point. And the மூணாவது point you may notice, ஒவ்வொரு சாப்டர்லையும் the end shlokas seamlessly lead us into the next chapter. அது நீங்க பார்த்துட்டு வாங்க. இப்போ நம்ம தேர்ட் சாப்டர்ல இருந்து ஃபோர்த்துக்கு போறோம். And you will notice, நம்ம 18 chapters போறதுக்கு இருக்கு. The end shlokas of every chapter will smoothly lead into the next chapter. These are the few things. I'll keep telling more as we go by. Let's go further. போன வாரம் we saw Lord Krishna categorically said, வாழ்க்கையில எல்லா துன்பங்களுக்கும் காரணம் ஆசைதான், desire. So he said, eradicate desire. Why is it so? Because நம்ம உலகத்துல நம்மளை சுத்தி இருக்கிற எல்லாம் தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு we make efforts. That is, we make efforts to understand everything around us. But many times we fail to understand what is within us. The Atman which is dwelling inside each body, we do not make effort to probe who am I. அது எதனால ஆகுதுன்னா, the desire is forming a cloud. Like he says, the புகை நெருப்பை சூழ்ந்துட்டு, that is a smoke covering the fire, so you are not able to see the fire, it's there. அதே மாதிரி the dirt on a mirror, you can see a nice reflection, but the dirt is covering, so you got to remove the dirt. Or he even quotes like the fetus inside the womb of a mother. It's there, but then it's not visible unless you make efforts, or when the fetus grows and comes out. So he says, அந்த மாதிரி பண்றதுக்கு the desire is the blockade. Senses are attracted to the sense objects because of desire. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, destroy that desire, then the enlightenment will naturally happen. So he says, sense organs are superior to the gross body, while the mind is superior to the sense organs. Mind can control the senses. And the intellect, it's superior to the mind. Therefore, intellect can control the mind itself from wavering. And the Atman is superior to the intellect. Therefore, we should make efforts to reach to the Atman. That's what Lord Krishna closes the third chapter, Karma Yoga, with. மேல போகலாம். இன்னைக்கு we are sailing into chapter 4, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. That is, Karma Sannyasa through Jnana Yoga. அதாவது, the topic of renunciation of action through knowledge. And as usual, I'll give a brief on the contents of chapter 4 before we take on few shlokas from chapter 4. அப்போ லார்ட் கிருஷ்ணா முதல்ல tells Arjuna, நான் உன்னைய ஏமாத்தி சண்டையில உன்னைய புகுத்தி விடணும்னு சொல்லி இன்ஸ்டிகேட் பண்றேன், don't think. That is, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, do not think that I am trying to cheat you, to instigate you to get back into war by teaching the Karma Yoga. Actually, this Karma Yoga is ancient, and Lord Krishna says he had taught to Vivaswan, and it had passed down generations. And then Lord Krishna says he will also reveal a part of the secret of his avatar. அதை சொல்லிட்டு then Lord Krishna also explains to Arjuna அந்த கர்ம யோகத்தில் இருக்கிற divisions and சொல்லிட்டு karma yoga and jnana yoga, he says they are closely linked together. அதனால கர்ம யோகம் பண்ணதுனால ஞான யோகம் practice பண்றதோட, that is, if one follows the path of karma yoga, the benefit will be the same as one follows the jnana yoga. Jnana yoga is the path of atma jnana, probing into the self analysis and attaining the knowledge, wisdom, or the enlightenment. இதுல வந்து today we are going to see shlokas 1, 2, 3 and 6 from chapter 4. அப்போ முதல்ல வந்து Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that he had taught this ancient times to Vivaswan, who told this to Manu, that is to indicate that it had passed down generation after generation. And he says that it declined over a period of time. And then Lord Krishna says this ancient yoga he again taught to Arjuna because of two reasons. One, Arjuna is a devotee of Krishna because he had said he is a student. ரெண்டாவது வந்து Arjuna is been his friend. And then that triggers Arjuna to ask a question to Krishna. நான் ஆரம்பத்தில் சொல்லியிருக்கேன், Bhagavad Gita allows questioning, all types of questioning, even questioning the veracity of statement made by the other side, the Guru. So Arjuna here asks Lord Krishna, Krishna, you are young in age. You are talking about things happened millennia ago. How am I to know that you were there at that time to teach Vivaswan? But Lord Krishna holds his patience and tells Arjuna that many births have gone for both Arjuna and Lord Krishna. Arjuna does not remember, Lord Krishna remembers that. And then he also goes ahead to tell Arjuna that though he is the Lord of Lords, Lord Krishna is the Lord of Lords, and he is unborn, and his knowledge never wanes or decreases, never. But because of his nature, using his nature, the Prakriti, that's a better word, and he says he came into the, as though came into the being because of his own creative powers. Let's see the shlokas in detail.
इमं विवस्वते योगम्
इमं विवस्वते योगं
प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम्
प्रोक्तवानहम् अव्ययम्
विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह
विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह
मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्
मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्
Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manuhu ikshvakave abravit. So Lord Krishna says, இந்த கர்ம யோகத்தை பத்தி சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கும்போது he says, aham, நான், Lord Krishna tells about himself. He says he did. What did he do? அவ்யயம் imam yogam, அழிவில்லாத இந்த கர்ம யோகத்தை. That is, this karma yoga which does not have an end, which is imperishable, it lasts forever. இந்த கர்ம யோகத்தை பத்தி he says விவஸ்வதே புரோக்தவான். விவஸ்வானுக்கு நான் தான் சொன்னேன். விவஸ்வான்ங்கிறது லார்ட் சன் காடோட இன்னொரு பேரு. இட்ஸ் ஏன்ஷியன்ட், டைம் இம்மெமோரியல். So Lord Krishna says that he only taught this karma yoga or shared this karma yoga secrets with Vivaswan, the sun god. And he says further, Vivaswan manave praha. Vivaswan in turn spread it to the next generation through Manu. And not only that, and it carried on. He says, Manuhu, and the Manu வந்து ஈக்ஷ்வாக்கவே பிரவீத், the next generation king, Ikshvaku. And the Madri, what he means to say is, it is an ancient yoga, karma yoga, not invented for you now. And I had taught to sun god. And he in turn taught to the other people, generation after generation, it has been coming. So Lord Krishna is here establishing that karma yoga was not invented now to trick Arjuna into war. விளக்கம் பார்க்கலாம். Said Lord Krishna, I preached this imperishable yoga to Vivaswata, the sun god, who taught it to Manu, and who in turn imparted it to King Ikshvaku. So Sri Bhagavan சொல்லுகிறான், that is Lord Krishna, இந்த அழிவற்ற யோகத்தை நான் முன்னர் விவஸ்வானுக்கு சொன்னேன். விவஸ்வான் மனுவுக்கு சொன்னான். மனு ஈக்ஷ்வாகு ராஜனுக்கு கூறினான். So the idea is to establish that ancient nature and it has been passed through generations. அடுத்த ஸ்லோகத்துல இன்னும் வரும் some interesting developments are in store. Let's go further.
एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम्
एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम्
इमं राजर्षयो विदुः
इमं राजर्षयो विदुः
सकाले नेह महता
सकाले नेह महता
योगो नष्टः परन्तप
योगो नष्टः परन्तप
एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयः विदुः सह कालेन इह महता योगः नष्टः परन्तप. So Lord Krishna karma yogathoda glory pati briefing Arjuna further on the glory of karma yoga. He addresses Arjuna as Parantapa. In the word நம்ம earlier கூட பார்த்திருக்கிறோம், the scorcher of enemies. Literally, he fried his enemies. That is, his enemies, Arjuna's enemies were scared of him, the destroyer of enemies. So he calls him Parantapa. He says, Evam in the Madri. That is, as said earlier, Parampara Praptam, Parampara vadi vandadu. That is, past generation after generation. Imam na in the yogam. That's a karma yogam. Lord Krishna is telling the glory of karma yoga. So he says, and the parampara vanda karma yogam, the karma yoga which was passed on generation to generation, Rajarshayaha viduhu, the Raja Rishigal, they were kings who were also very learned, and they were kings as well as rishis, Rajarshayaha, and they knew this. They were aware of this karma yoga, the secret of karma yoga. But Lord Krishna says a little regretfully, Saha yogaha, அந்த மாதிரியான glory இருக்கிற கர்ம யோகம் மகதா காலேன ரொம்ப நாள் தள்ளி போனதுனால, with the passage of long time here in this universe, nashtaha, it had declined. So Lord Krishna says, in the Madri, which had been passing over to generations, this glorious Karma Yoga, the Raja Rishis knew about it. Unfortunately, with the passage of long time, this had declined. What Lord Krishna indicates here is, எந்த சீக்கிரட்டும் சொல்லி கொடுக்கிறதுக்கு there has to be somebody deserving to take it. அப்போ நல்லவங்க இருந்தாதான் நல்ல விஷயம் அவங்களுக்கு பாஸ் ஆகும். So he says that in between, when there was an absence of deserving people in between, so slowly it had declined. விளக்கம் பார்க்கலாம். The saintly kings who received it by tradition knew it, but in the course of time it was lost. O Parantapa. Parantapa is Lord Krishna addressing Arjuna. இவ்வாறு பரம்பரையாக கிடைத்த இதனை ராஜ ரிஷிகள் உணர்ந்திருந்தனர் பார்த்தா. அந்த யோகம் கால மிகுதியால் இவ்வுலகத்தில் இழக்கப்பட்டது. So it had declined in this universe with a long passage of time because there were no deserving people in between, therefore there was a break. So அடுத்ததுல இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் வரும். Let's go to the next one.
स एवायं मया तेद्य
स एवायं मया तेद्य
योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः
योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः
भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति
भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति
रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्
रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्
स एव अयं मया ते अद्य योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तः असि मे सखा च इति रहस्यं हि एतत् उत्तमम्. So Lord Krishna here is pepping up the morale of Arjuna further. He is telling Arjuna, may எனக்கு, that is for Lord Krishna, Arjuna has been special. Why? Bhaktaha sakhacha asi. Arjuna is a bhaktaha, devotee, because Arjuna had claimed earlier, I am your student, you are my guru. So Lord Krishna is making use of that. And sakhacha, a friend also. They have grown together. So Lord Krishna says, you are my devotee and you are also my friend. Iti அப்படிங்கிற ரீசன்னால அயம் புராதனஹ யோகஹ மயா புரோக்தஹ. சயேவ, அதே புராதனஹ புராதனஹ யோகஹ, அந்த மாதிரி ஏன்ஷியன்ட் கர்ம யோகா, the secrets of the ancient karma yoga, மயா தே புரோக்தஹ, என்னால உனக்கு சொல்லப்பட்டது. என்ன அப்படி ஸ்பெஷல் அது அந்த கர்ம யோகா? why is it so special? Because ஏதத்து, இது this karma yoga uttamam rahasyam, it's a profound secret. He says the things that are contained in this karma yoga cannot be taught to everybody. The person has to be eligible. And Lord Krishna had said earlier, there has been a gap because there were no eligible people to be passed on. Adnala slowly it had come to decline. And now Lord Krishna implies that after a long gap, he has found an eligible candidate in Arjuna. So it is a lift of morale for Arjuna. விளக்கம் பார்க்கலாம். Today the same ancient yoga has been taught by me to you because you are my devotee and my friend. This is indeed a profound secret. அந்த பழைய யோகத்தையே இன்று நான் உனக்குச் சொன்னேன். நீ என் பக்தனும் தோழனும் என்பது கருதி. இது மிகவும் உயர்ந்த ரகசியம். So Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of karma yoga and its ancient past, and also makes it a point to make it known to Arjuna that Arjuna has that much of confidence of Krishna on him as an eligible candidate to receive that secret. மேல போகலாம். When Lord Krishna said all this, Arjuna could no longer hold himself. He immediately blurts out, "Hey Krishna, you were born much later. How am I to know that you could have taught Vivaswan, who was much earlier to you?" இது வந்து great sign for a person in depression to have paid so much attention to what Lord Krishna was saying, and it was a sensational statement, so it provoked Arjuna. ஆனா லார்ட் கிருஷ்ணா அதுக்கு வந்து பதட்டப்படாம he answers him coolly. He says, Arjuna, you and I have had many births. You do not remember that, but I remember all that. And then Lord Krishna goes on to reveal something more, the secret of his avatar. அடுத்த ஸ்லோகத்துல அது வருது. அதை பார்க்கறதுக்கு முன்னால it may be useful for us to know these two concepts of Purusha and Prakriti. So the evolution of the universe, it's believed that it is due to the Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti is the nature, and the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, முதல்ல பேசணுமே, they are associated with Prakriti, while Purusha is without any of these attributes, is called Nirguna Brahman. And the Prakriti, Purusha and the Prakriti are generally talked about as the eternal male and female principles, and out of these two principles the process of evolution of the whole world was born. And Purusha does not do any action, but in his presence or with his blessings, Prakriti created the universe. That is the general concept. And with this in the background, you will understand the next shloka better. Let's go to the next shloka.
अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा
अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा
भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन्
भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन्
प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया
Lord Krishna says, Ajaha api san avyaya atma bhutanam ishvaraha api san prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. So Lord Krishna says, Ajaha api san, though he is unborn, avyaya atma san, his knowledge never diminishes, he remembers everything. And bhutanam ishvaraha api san, he is the Lord of lords of all the living beings. That means he is unborn, without a diminishing knowledge, and Lord of all the living beings. And yet he says, Prakritim swam adhishtaya, அந்த பிரகிருதி கொஞ்சம் முன்னால் சொன்னேன்னா அந்த மதர் நேச்சர் wielding his influence on the mother nature, he says atma mayaya sambhavami. He says through his creative power he as though comes into being. So Lord Krishna reveals the secret. He says his avatar is not like a normal human being's birth. He is unborn and he is undiminishing knowledge, and he is the Lord of lords of all the human beings, and he uses the influence on his prakriti, the mother nature, and because of his creative power he as though comes into being in this universe. And what purpose does he do all that? That is the suspense which will open up next week. So விளக்கம் பார்க்கலாம். Even though being one who is unborn, one whose knowledge does not wane, and also being the Lord of all living beings, still wielding my own prakriti, I as though come into being by my own creative power. பிறப்பற்றேன் எனினும் அழிவற்றேன் எனினும் உயிர்களுக்கெல்லாம் ஈசனே எனினும் யான் எனது பிரகிருத்தியில் நிலை பெற்று ஆத்ம மாயையால் பிறப்பெய்துகிறேன். எதுக்கு இவ்வளோ கஷ்டமெல்லாம் பட்டுக்கிட்டு அவதார் வரணும்? இஸ் தேர் எ ரீசன் ஆர் இஸ் தேர் அ டைம் when the Lord comes? அதுதான் நெக்ஸ்ட் வீக்ல we will get a wonderful answer for that. Wait till next week. Today we had stepped into chapter 4, the Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, wherein Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna எதனால கர்ம யோகத்தை அவ்வளவு விரிவா அர்ஜுனாக்கு சொன்னாரு. And it is not to cheat Arjuna into taking part in the war again, but Lord Krishna explains Karma Yoga is ancient. It had faded over the generations. And then Lord Krishna says that he had taught this to Vivaswan millennia ago. That immediately triggers Arjuna to ask a question. அது எப்படி நீ வயசுல சின்னவா? How could you have taught Vivaswan so long ago? அதுக்கு பதில் சொல்ற மாதிரி Lord Krishna reveals a part of the secret of his avatar. அது வரைக்கும் இன்னைக்கு பார்த்தோம். இன்னும் interesting parts are ahead for us in this chapter. அடுத்த வாரம் பார்ப்போம். Namaskar everybody.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.